Welcome back to another Legion Timewalking Mage Tower video. Today we'll be looking at and discussing the Guardian Druid, and we'll be discussing both specs that you can use for this. Before we get too far in, please click the subscribe button down below, or give us a thumbs up if you've been enjoying the video series. And with that said, let's get moved over to the talents section. For talents, we have Brambles as our first talent, pretty simple. Passively, you'll do a little bit of damage reflection, and then whenever you activate Bark Skin, you'll also be pulsing AoE damage. Next, we have Wild Charge. That's in case you get hit by a knockback from either the Eyes in Phase 1 or the Infernals in Phase 1 or 2. You can charge back on. After that, we have our Balance Affinity. Now, this is the first spec. It's going to rely on Balance Affinity and Heart of the Wild. Balance Affinity just gives you basic boomkin abilities, and Heart of the Wild makes it to where when you pop this ability, your damage on those abilities is going to be increased by 30%, and Star Surge will be instant. After that, we have Galactic Guardian. Has a damage has 5% chance to cast a free Moonfire, and then your next Moonfire cast will generate 8 rage and deal 300% damage. After that, we have Survival of the Fittest, reduces cooldown of Bark Skin and Survival Instincts by 33%. And lastly, we have Rend and Tear. Each stack of Thrash reduces the target's damage to you, and then increases your damage done to the target by 2% each, stacking up to 3 times, so it's a 6% damage reduction and 6% damage increase. Now, the other build you can play is just a strictly bear form build. And what we're going to switch is to Restoration Affinity, Mighty Bash, and that's it. So this build pretty much plays the same way. We're going to stack Thrashes. A lot of our damage can come from Galactic Guardian Moonfires, and you'll have a lot of passive healing, and you'll be able to use Reju and stuff to heal yourself up as well. Now, I went with the Moonkin build just because it's a lot of early damage in Phase 1, and you can phase him while there's only one Infernal up if you're quick. I think I had a second Infernal spawn right at the end before I pushed in the encounter video. We'll have to take a look at it here shortly and see. Alright, after that we're going to go over to gear. I used my Heart of Azeroth, I used Echo Wraith, and I used the Insignia of the Grand Army. Now, none of these items are required. My stats were almost the exact same without them, but I used them because it gave me a little bit more crit and a little bit more haste. And by a little bit more, I mean I lost 6% versatility, and I gained maybe 2% crit and 1% haste. So it's not a huge deal. I just did it for the early damage in Phase 1. And after that, we did have Titanic Ocular Gland and Hateful Chain. Hateful Chain did a decent bit of damage. Titanic Ocular Gland is just some primary or secondary stat. Neither of these trinkets are super good. You could find much better. I did use Jotungeirr as a damage cooldown, and I purposely didn't pop it in Phase 1. I waited till Phase 2. The reason being is I had no problem getting through the first boss. My problem was with Cruel. I probably had 20 to 3% wipes on Cruel. And part of the reason is I was using this in the beginning, and I was getting through Phase 1 so fast, I had another minute and a half before this was up. Alright, on to Consumables. For Consumables, we used our Veiled Augment runes, we used our food, we used our regular Desolate Armor kits, and instead of the new flasks, we use these Flasks of the Greater Currents. The new flasks get reduced to 21 main stat, and these Greater Flasks of the Current are reduced to 31 main stat, so you get 10 extra main stat. After that, we had our Sharpening Stone, and we have Potions of Unbridled Fury. This ends up being quite a bit of damage. It did 11.7k of my damage, and that wasn't mine. My kill attempt, I did 829k DPS, and for some reason the potion didn't go off. My Thrash actually beat my Moonfire, and I think that's more so because I wasn't Moonfiring enough. But normally your Moonfire will be way on top of your Thrash. And if you are not going to use the Potion of Unbridled Fury due to either price or just difficulty of farming, you can use the potions for main stat, but do not use the new potions, because you'll notice as we look at the tooltip down here, these are only good for 25 seconds, whereas the potions of prolonged power are active for 1 minute. So you'll get much more out of the potions of prolonged power. Alright, with that said, we are going to move over to macros. So let's look at our macros here. We used only 2 macros. First macro we used is our Berserk macro, which has Berserk in it. It's got our Jotungeirr in it. We had a few tries where we used the Badge of Ferocity, which I think was a great idea to go ahead and use that. But when I logged in today, I forgot to put it back on. And then lastly, we had the Potion of Unbridled Fury. And the other macro that we used was our Heart of the Wild macro right here, which is just cast Heart of the Wild and then use a Trinket. Now, before I had Jotungeirr in here because I was trying to burn him at 1 Infernal, but like I said, I didn't like that in here because I like to use it in phase 2. And if we use it on pool, sometimes it wasn't up by phase 2. So, alright, now that we've gone over all the stuff, let's roll over to the encounter and see how it goes. Alright, we got our encounter loading up here. Make sure we use our consumables and stuff. I think I actually forgot to use my food on this one. I didn't use my food early enough. So we're gonna pop our Boomkin form. We're gonna use our Heart of the Wild, put our dots up, and then just start with 2 Wraths with our Star Surge in the same global as the Wrath. Dot, Typhoon. Now we're just gonna nuke with some Starfires and our Star Surges. Now, Velen can take a hit normally, but we're just gonna go ahead and pull these over here away from him. We had an Empowered Moonfire right there. We used it on the boss. Had an Empowered Moonfire right there. Used it to one-shot the eye. Got our Interrupts. Back in Moonkin form, we're gonna use our Star Surge immediately before Heart of the Wild runs out. Refresh our dots. Go ahead and dot this Infernal up as well, just so he dies faster and we don't have to worry about him chasing us around. Heal up with Regrowth. Go ahead and get the Interrupt there. And we're going to pull these adds over to us. Now, on these Netherstorm casts, you have to use your Intimidating Roar. That way they all get CC'd like that. And that's how you deal with that. Get our Star Surge off, interrupt it with a Typhoon, get dots up. For the eyes, you only have to put 1 dot on them and they will just die from that. Just get as much damage as we can. Now we got pretty low right there, and kind of by design, so we're gonna go ahead and pop a heal orb. And we also interrupted Varus with that. Now, because we got that heal orb, it healed us to full, and it also cleared any debuffs we had. So we're going to go ahead and dot this back up. And we're going to pump as much damage as we can into Varus. We're going to face this eye so we don't get knocked off. While we were facing the eye, we also got our dots out. We're going to get a heal right here. Going to interrupt Varus. Pop a heal, and we did our AoE Incapacitating Roar. I'm just gonna kill these horrors. I'm gonna go ahead and use this orb to break his cast and to heal us up. And we're gonna get some damage on him here and hopefully phase him. There's the phase. Now we want to go ahead and dot Cruel And we popped all of our cooldowns. We popped Heroism. We popped Berserk. We popped our weapon ability. And you'll notice my potion did not go off. So I actually didn't use a potion at all on this kill. And that potion does about 11,000 damage. So it's very unfortunate. I could have actually felt a lot more comfortable with this kill. There's our charge. That way we don't get knocked off. As you can see, it's very important. Go ahead and hit one of these other orbs. We had 3 orbs going into this fight, so I felt pretty safe using them a little liberally. Now the first annihilation, we don't need anything except our barks or our iron fur for. After that, we're going to use bark skin for the next one. And then the third one, we're going to use survival instincts. And the fourth one, we're going to use survival instincts and bark skin if we get to 4. We're going to go ahead and fear those and interrupt. And we're going to hit an orb for healing. And we're going to keep him dotted. He would already be dead almost if I had used the survival instincts there. He would have already been dead if I would have used my my potion like I was supposed to, or almost dead. Alright, we have an extra orb still up, so I'm just kind of using them liberally now. Go ahead and stun that. Those annihilate number 4 will make you pucker a little bit. It is not fun. Now I had another orb up, and I was in a really good spot as far as damage goes, so I'm just sitting right beside it. That way I can use it. As you can see, we're just doing all the damage that we can and putting as much damage as we can into Cruel. And that'll get you taken care of. You do have to make sure you pay attention to the ads and you fear them, or you do your intimidating roar to interrupt them. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of the video for the Guardian Druid. This one was rough for me. I had a lot of attempts on it. This was after they scaled the health down a little bit, and I never really had a problem with the ads. Just that's your priority when they're out, is watching them and make sure you're doing your AoE incapacitating roar to interrupt their AoE cast, or it will kill Velen or Corvus really quickly. So again, please hit the subscribe button down below. Give us a thumbs up if we helped you at all, or if you enjoyed the video. Got quite a few more to do, so hope to see everybody there. Have a great one.